Welcome back in for another installment of the 94 podcast. I'm Brooke Edel, and it's Derby Day. Welcome. So much to get into real quick. Quick notes. Jim is not here. He's actually in Indianapolis with his girlfriend. So have fun this weekend, Jim. We'll catch you next time here on the 94 podcast. But like I mentioned, it's Derby Day. This is the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. I know there's so much, to just chat about. But a couple of things about the Kentucky Derby, just some fun facts, just to kind of absorb real quick here. A couple of things that I've just discovered in the Kentucky Derby. There are some interesting stories, but the fun stats, the most common colors of the Derby winners are bay and chestnut. The most common birthplace of winners is Kentucky with 117 recorded winners, while only 6 Japanese-bred horses have entered the race with one third-place finish, Forever Young, in 2024. The last horse bred outside of North America to win the race was Tommy Lee in 1959. Sheesh, that's a long time. Trainer Brad Cox will enter 2 horses in the Derby, Commandment and Further Ado. Full Effort was scratched, so he could have had 3 horses, but entering multiple horses doesn't translate to a sure win. Of the 32 instances of a trainer entering at least 3 horses in as many as 5, only 4 won. D. Wayne Lucas in 1995 with Thunder Gulch, in 1996 with Grindstone, and Todd Pelcher with Super Saver in 2010. Always Dreaming in 2017. No horse has won from the number 17th post out of 46 starters, while 10.4% of winners have come from the number 5 post from 96 starters. The most recent being Always Dreaming in 2017. The post positions with the big drought are the number 1 post, the number 2 post, affirmed in 1978 was the last winner. The number 9 post, Riviera Ridge, was the last winner in 1972. The number 12 post, Canero, the second last one in 1971. And the number 14 post, Carryback, last one in 1961. A lot of people want to know about the horses' names, and I think this is always interesting to just really dive into the names and understand a little bit about the horse in itself. I know they do the coverage, but a couple of the names here that I'll just rattle off, and then we'll get on to our next subjects. Renegade, pretty cool name. Albus, Intrepido, Litmus Test, Commandment, love that one. Danyon Bourbon, So Happy, Wonderdine, Incredibolt, Chief Wallaby, Potent, Emerging Market, okay, maybe some underlying messages there. Palvovian, 6-speed, okay, so this horse has got 6-speed. Further Ado, as we mentioned at the top, the same horse trainer, Brad Cox, with Commandment. Golden Tempo, that's a good one. Great White, and we got Ocelli and Robusta. So those round out the Kentucky Derby, the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. That'll be later today in Kentucky. The most time for the 2026 Kentucky Derby will be 6:57 Eastern Time Zone, and fans can watch that just on regular streaming services. There's 20 horses that have the chance to compete in the Kentucky Derby, but 2026 race will be run with 19 horses. And as we mentioned, Full Effort was scratched. So a lot to get to here in the early part of May. It's Derby Day. focusing on the NBA and NHL playoffs, we got to see a great closeouts from both Minnesota teams. Let's start with the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild, they were able to take care of the Dallas Stars, winning 5-2 on St. Paul home ice. And now they will take on the President Cup winners, the Colorado Avalanche. With the Minnesota Wild now exercising the demons of 2015. It's been 11 years since we've been able to talk second round playoff hockey for the Minnesota Wild. So they will take on the Colorado Avalanche in Ball Arena coming up Sunday. So it's quick. It's quick turnaround. So it'll be Sunday at 8 p.m. Tickets are going as low as $158. It's not terrible for playoff hockey, especially second round playoff hockey. Montreal, Tampa Bay. I believe this is going to be Game 7. That will be played tomorrow. And both myself and Jim, we did predict. A lot of these games are going to go to 7. And when we had Tanner Hoops on, we did predict that this was going to go 7 as well. Just two evenly matched teams. And one team is going to move on, one team is going to go home. Montreal and Tampa Bay, they'll be the first game on Sunday. Minnesota and Colorado will be the nightcap. Today, however, there is a Game 1. It's between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes disposed of the Ottawa Senators in 4. The Philadelphia Flyers, they were able to take care of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they will be slated for Game 1 start at 7 p.m. tonight. Great matchup there. And as we look forward to Monday's action, we're still waiting on the brackets here, but currently what we have is 1 and 3 between the Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild, and then 1 and 3 for the Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. So a little bit of a interdivision matchup here in the semifinals before the Western Conference Finals take place. But yeah, I really like the chances for the Wild, especially with their goaltending. And if they're able to continue to capitalize on special teams with their power play, this Minnesota Wild team can make a deep run into June and potentially take home the cup. And that's the exciting thing here for the Wild. Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks, this will be interesting to see which two teams, high scoring. There's a high potent offenses. See whose sticks stay the hottest here between the Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. That will be interesting to see if Anaheim is able to continue their Cinderella story. They just defeated Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, sending them home after 6 games with them winning the series 4-2. And same thing with the Vegas Knights. They were able to defeat the Utah Mammoth to advance to the semifinals. The Colorado Avalanche, they were able to sweep the LA Kings 4-0. So the Avalanche are rested. They will be at home, as mentioned at the top. The Golden Knights will be at T-Mobile Arena, and they will be hosting the Anaheim Ducks. But again, great hockey is coming up. The Buffalo Sabres, they have made it to the second round. They defeated the Boston Bruins, defeated them in 6 games. They will be awaiting the winner of the Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. So it'll either be Tampa Bay or Montreal playing Buffalo. And we mentioned the Hurricanes and the Carolina Hurricanes will be hosting the Philadelphia Flyers. That will be an intense atmosphere in Carolina. I know that they love their hockey, and they will be pumped. That will be a 7 p.m. puck drop later today here on Derby Day of all days. And then in the NBA, we did have a couple clinchers as well, so we'll just shift over to the NBA as we look forward to the current matchups in the playoff brackets. We got the Thunder, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They swept earlier this week the Phoenix Suns to advance to the Western Conference semifinals, and they will be taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. That is their prize for surviving the first round. They get the LA Lakers. And again, we don't know if Luka Doncic is going to be back. Austin Reeves did return in the closeout game against the Houston Rockets. They were able to win that handily, winning by 20, 98-78. That will be a Cinco de Mayo start for the Thunder and Lakers. So that will tip off on Tuesday night. Game 1 for the Western Conference semifinals second matchup. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the San Antonio Spurs. The game will be at San Antonio, the AT&T Center, I believe. They will be taking they'll take game 1 at 8:30. They'll tip game off at 8:30 on May 4th. May the 4th be with you, Minnesota Timberwolves. No one's predicting this to be an easy series for the Timberwolves, especially with Anthony Edwards hampered with his knee, his hyperextended knee, the left knee. So we'll see if he's able to get back in the mix of this series, maybe game 3, game 4. All depends on the spacing in between these games. What I'm also seeing today as well is there's a whole slate of games that still haven't been decided in the Eastern Conference. So the Western Conference for the NBA, it's set up right now with Thunder, Lakers, Timberwolves, Spurs. On the East, we only have one team that has advanced so far, and that's the New York Knicks. And they obliterated the Atlanta Hawks by 51 points, routing them 140-89. Talk about an ass whooping, and that is an ass whooping in its full definition. The Knicks were battered and bruising the Atlanta Hawks and even their fans. I mean, Lil Boozy got ran into by Jalen Brunson. So, yeah, even the fans were catching strays. The Knicks, they will await the Game 7 winner, which will actually be played later today here on Derby Day between the Celtics and the 76ers. So who will get to the finish line in this series, especially with the way that the Celtics shot the basketball in the last game? A little concerning if you're a Boston fan. Philadelphia fans, they're playing with house money. They know that no one is expecting them to even make this a series. They were making the chants early on, we want Boston. It's Philly, you got Boston. You got them got to have it Game 7. Win or go home, do or die. I'm really impressed with this Philadelphia 76ers ball club led by, I'd say, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid coming back made a huge difference. You got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, just great overall play. I mean, you also have Paul George as making some big shots for the Sixers. And Nick Nurse is doing a great job coaching this team, and playing very tough defense on both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You really want to test Jason Tatum and make sure that he's able to give it a full go, because he did come up limp a little bit in Game 6 where he had to leave for a period of time. So again, I think that'll be the game plan for the Sixers in this Game 7. Matching up with the Knicks, I think either Celtics or Sixers is going to make this a really good series. Knicks are just ready to go. I'm sure they can't wait to play basketball, but this will be great basketball for all NBA fans to watch. Celtics and Sixers in Game 7. Buckle the F up for that game. Cavaliers and Raptors, another Game 7. The Cavaliers went down big. They made a rally, but then they lost in overtime on the road in Toronto. They bring it back to Cleveland and Quicken Loans Arena. We'll see if the Cavaliers are able to survive, or are the Toronto Raptors, with the reenactment of the Kawhi Leonard shot with R.J. Barrett hitting that clutch three to win it in overtime. And then again, it comes back down to another Game 7 between the Pistons and Magics. The Detroit Pistons won again to extend their season, and it's a gotta have it, do or die Game 7 for the Pistons and Magic. The winner of the Pistons Magic will get the winner of the Cavaliers Raptors. So 2 Game 7s going on this weekend on Sunday. They will dictate the second matchup of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Predictions on the Western Conference. We'll go back with the NHL real quick. NHL, let's take a look. NHL, what we have so far on the Western Conference. I have the Minnesota Wild winning this series in 6. I just feel like the Wild, they can figure out a way to win on the road. They've proven that. They won twice in Dallas. They were able to protect home ice as well. So I think that's a recipe for success in these Stanley Cup playoffs. You got to be able to win on the road. And I think the Wild have been able to uncover that. And you know, they're able to continue to play sound hockey. I think that they will be able to take out the Avalanche in 6. Again, that's a bold prediction. Avalanche could they could beat them in 5, they could beat them in 6, they could beat them in 7. I just feel like the Wild, they just have their number in the playoffs, and I feel confident, you know, every time going up against the Colorado Avalanche. Very, very similar just to the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm giving the Wild the edge there. The Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks, I'm giving the edge to the Golden Knights. I just feel like the Golden Knights are just a better team across the board. So I'm predicting Wild Golden Knights for the Western Conference finals. And for Hurricanes Flyers, I'm going with Hurricanes. I'm going Hurricanes to advance past the Flyers. Sabres and whoever wins the Lightning Canadiens Game 7. I'm going Sabres. Whoever they play, I'm going Buffalo. So I go Buffalo and Carolina. So we'll pause there. We'll get back to the NBA. I know a lot to unpack there. But in the NBA, let's take a look at these series real quick. Got the Thunder and Lakers. I'm going Lakers. I think Lakers shock them. I think it goes 7. I believe the Lakers have what it takes once they get Luka to really challenge Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Jared McCain. I feel like they have what it takes to really push the Thunder, make them uncomfortable, make them really play defense. I know this OKC team is, that's their calling card, is having great defense. But I feel like actually forcing them, just not settling for jump shots. I think when you settle for jump shots, you're doing them a favor, because that leads to their fast break offense, transition offense. So I think the Lakers are going to stay aggressive and drive the lane, because that's what we saw with Austin Reeves coming back. That's what we saw with LeBron James in the first 3 games, driving the lane and actually taking the attack to the rim. I like what the Lakers are doing there, and I feel like they're gaining that confidence now that they've advanced as a group. So I'm taking Lakers in 7 to knock off the defending champs in OKC. Timberwolves and San Antonio Spurs, I got to give it to Timberwolves. Timberwolves in 7, but you need Anthony Edwards. I think it's too uphill of a task to do this without Anthony Edwards. So hoping that you get Anthony Edwards either in Game 3 or Game 4. But at that time, you just need to win 1. in San Antonio. You just split, go back to Target Center down, tied up 1-1. And then you have a chance to either go up 2-1, or again, you could split at home again 2-2, and then you have a potential Game 5 situation in San Antonio where you could win that game, and you would have an opportunity to eliminate the Spurs in a Game 6 coming back. But I'm taking the Timberwolves. In 7, because I think this is just going to be one of those games, one of those series that's going to go the full distance, just because how difficult the Spurs are going to make it for the Timberwolves with their defenders. And again, let's talk about how the Timberwolves got here. They beat the Denver Nuggets 4-2 in a best of 7. They won in Game 6, 110-98, but they didn't have 40% of their scorers, their leading scorers in that series. Ayo Dosunmu, Anthony Edwards, Dante DiVincenzo, were all out for the clincher, and you still get it done. Big shout out to Jaden McDaniels. He grew up big time in round 1. Just calling out the Nuggets, point blank, simple. They're all bad defenders, and he proved it. He put it on tape that they're all bad defenders. They can't guard him. Again, big maturity in the playoffs for TJ. Terrence Shannon Jr., expect more of the same against the Spurs. He was inserted into the lineup. He was a starter for Game 6, the clincher. Definitely want to see the Timberwolves get healthy, because they've been hobbled. Naz Reid a little banged up, Bones Highland a little banged up. You're still waiting on your star, your alpha, and Anthony Edwards, and obviously you're waiting for Ayo Dosunmu, who has definitely taken the twin turbo to another level, and being the tandem with Bones Highland, and he's the hot hand right now. And I think Chris Finch is just waiting to get all of his pieces back in this chess match against the San Antonio Spurs. You're going up against Victor Wembanyama. You got Stephon Castle. You got De'Aaron Fox. Just a very solid team all across. And you also have Dylan Harper, who is just a great young talent. And San Antonio is just going to give you fits. They also have the Sixth Man of the Year. They got the Defensive Player of the Year in Victor Wembanyama. San Antonio is going to give you anything and everything you can handle. But I got the Wolves in 7. So that would give us Lakers, Wolves in the Western Conference Finals. Again, for the East, it's so wide open right now. Let's just wait until these series conclude, because, again, there's so many scenarios. The Magic could advance. The Raptors could advance. The Sixers could advance. So anywhere from the 7 seed, the 5 seed, or the 8 seed could still be alive next time we talk to you guys here in the 94 podcast. We'll wrap up here with some interesting NFL news here coming up. The NFL news that we're going to be covering here is the Colts decline quarterback Anthony Richardson's 27th option. So I don't know if he's going to be back with the team. Again, that could be interesting to see where he would end up. Knowing that he was a coveted draft pick for the Indianapolis Colts, and now that they have invested into Daniel Jones, it'll be interesting to see where the Colts are going with the quarterback position. Mahomes is on track to participate in the first OTA, so good news for the Kansas City Chiefs fans. Again, want to also look back at that weird story between DK Metcalf and the fan in Detroit. No charges for Steelers DK Metcalf over fan incident, so that's some good news there. The Ravens reunite with Campbell to buoy, like he's going to buoy the defense. So I believe that is Calais Campbell reuniting with the Ravens for his 19th season. So that's big time news for the Ravens, being able to really run block and just have a sound veteran in the locker room. The New York Giants, Slayton, has core muscle surgery. So he's TBD in regards to his return. Steelers not picking up option on Jones. This is Broderick Jones, fifth-year option. He's the tackle. So this is interesting, knowing that Jones, who turns 25, suffered a season-ending neck injury in the Week 12 loss to the Chicago Bears, had an off-season surgery. It's unclear if he'll return by training camp or the start of the season. This is interesting since we know that Mike McCarthy is the new head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His quote was, "The longer I do this, it takes the whole group to get through the season." Said when asked about his approach to assembling and developing the offensive line, "So how we train them together with interposition flexibility will be a big part of our decisions of how we start." So knowing that Aaron Rodgers still holds the cards, this should be definitely one of the headlines to definitely follow. Knowing that the Steelers, they have Aaron Rodgers, but they also drafted Drew Allar, Penn State. They also have Will Howard, Ohio State. So again, it could be an open competition with Mason Rudolph. So the Steelers training camp, mini camp is going to be one of the most interesting mini camps coming up as we get into May, as we get into June, as we get into July, as we get into like the later months of the summer, where we're August and we're knocking on the door of the NFL season. The Bengals declined defensive end Murphy's option. So Miles Murphy's rookie option was declined for the fifth-year option. So again, what's going to happen here? More news in the AFC North. The Browns break ground on the $2.4 billion stadium targeted for 2029. So big news for Cleveland. The Cleveland owner Jimmy Haslam and his family marked a significant milestone on Thursday with a groundbreaking ceremony for the new domed stadium scheduled to open for 2029 season. So that means I got to make it to Cleveland before they put the Browns in the dome. And again, this will be next to the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, about 15 miles south of downtown Cleveland. All right, so that is some big news coming out of the AFC North, and knowing that you got all this going on in the NFL, and we got the NBA, and we got the NFL, the NHL. We got MLB. My Cubs doing pretty good. I mean, they are currently. Let's take a quick look at the score here. Last time I saw they were up 1-0. They're up 1-0, bottom of the fifth. Cubs 20-12. I'm going to be checking out the Twins game later this week. They will be taking on the Toronto Blue Jays on Sunday. Right now, Twins are winning 3-2 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Bottom of the second, Twins are threatening with a man on second. But yeah, that's all we got for you here on the 94 podcast. Stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe. And you know, we're getting stuff on TikTok. We're getting merch out there. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share to a friend. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Make sure to share this to all your friends that are big sports. And then also, we are the exclusive home of the second round of the playoffs here on CCX TV. But next time on the 94 podcast, we'll see you at the TOP. We're out.